Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. Your portfolio, your resume has been, LinkedIn profile has been shortlisted. A hiring manager has just reached out and asked to schedule an interview with you. But there's only one catch. And the catch is it's going to be an virtual interview. And you say, gosh, virtual interview? When do you want to do this? They say, how about 2 days from now on a evening at 6 p.m.? You've agreed to it. Already there are some butterflies in your stomach. How am I going to do a virtual interview? Friends, this situation is very common today. What I'm going to talk to you in the next 20, 30 minutes is how to ace a virtual interview. Welcome to this a session which gives you an overview and some practical tips how do one ace a virtual interview. My name is Yogesh Bhatt. I'm a co-founder and senior vice president at Masai School. I come with over 25 years of experience in the corporate world, ranging from training and development, consulting, and business development. At Masai School is a transformation in education. It's a place where you learn to earn and pay when you get hired. We are a 21st century coding school, a career-focused coding school. We are on a mission to find untapped or underutilized talent and to skill them for our most in-demand jobs in the world. We focus on three areas and we build industry relevant skills in our students. Pay nothing until you are hired and a holistic development. We'll talk about it a little more in detail. So today I invite you to be with me in this journey to learn how to ace virtual interview. Before we begin, I would like to start with a quote from Harvey Mackay, who said that little things don't mean a lot, they mean everything. Harvey Mackay was a CEO of a company making fairly simple product. He was making envelopes, paper envelopes. The only thing is nothing great technology, isn't it? Just making different kinds and shapes of envelope. But the company happens to have a turnover of $100 million. In his book, he said that little things don't mean a lot, they mean everything. So in this journey of uh, getting an overview of how do we ace a virtual interview, keep in mind little things don't mean a lot, they mean everything. Having said that, job interviews are very common nowadays, right? Virtual job interviews to be more precise. The team meetings are very, very common. The webinars are happening regularly. Projects and presentations are happening regularly over virtual mode. So is also the virtual job interview. Even some conferences are moving towards virtual conferences. Recently, ATD, which is a global event on training and development, which is held in USA for over a 3 days period, have shifted this completely to virtual mode. So you can expect more and more things happening as we progress. So you may have a question: why do companies conduct virtual interviews? Why, first of all, virtual interviews are taking place? These virtual interviews are beneficial both to the organization and the candidate. Now let's look at why organization likes to do virtual interviews. First and foremost, it is very cost effective, isn't it? Once I shortlist on a candidate, all I need to do is set up a time and a person who will conduct these interviews. It's extremely cost effective. And the second reason is very easy to set up. All it requires is you either it is a one-on-one interview or a panel. Just you need to set up the calendar, and when all the party are mutually sync up, you use one of the platform. It could be a Zoom or a Hangout or any of those platforms. You are on nothing. You don't need anything else. You can take from your home, you can take from your offices, or even you can take it from your airport if you're waiting for a flight, right? And the most biggest advantages for organization is there is no geographical constraint. I can today conduct an interview for anyone, anywhere in India or overseas. That's the advantages of conducting a virtual interview. And last but not the least, I think why virtual interview really caught up vis-a-vis telephone interviews is I can observe candidates' interpersonal skills. I think that has made a big difference. And because of this COVID, with people getting more and more into virtual platform, it became even more convincing factors that we can conduct meetings, we can conduct classes, we can conduct interviews, we can conduct seminars, we can conduct even evaluation over virtual platform. So the organizations have agreed to it, and they are going to go in this way. What about candidates? Are candidates useful, or on the other side? Actually, according to us at Masai School, it is beneficial to candidates also. We need not travel. So many of our students, when they apply, the job requirement might come from Delhi, it could come from Mumbai, it may come from Bangalore. And our students in Patna branch take the interview from wherever they are, so no need to travel. The second reason why it is beneficial to the candidate is there are more choices. So the very fact that I can take the interview from across the country and I have more choices to accept the invitation. Third reason is I'm going to take this interview from a familiar environment to me. See, the biggest challenge with any interview is you have to go into an environment where it is in the customer's place, right from the security clearances and waiting for the interview. The palpitation, the butterflies in the stomach goes up, up, up. And today, you're doing this interview at your home, at your offices, or wherever you are comfortable with. So that's a big reason why you can be really comfortable also. And last but not the least, we believe actually in a virtual interview, you can create better impact. Trust me how you can do this. In this journey, I'm going to give you an overview how you can do that. Now, I have a question to all of you. What is your interview? Yes, I want you to think for a moment, what would be an interview goal? When I asked this, many of my students said that I want to get a job, or somebody would say that I want to progress. Absolutely. Now, we believe the interview goal is to create impact. The goal of any interview, whether it is in person or virtual, is to create that impact. Now, impact is a very, very powerful word. We will see in a moment how can one create impact in real life, whether it is interview or for that matter, even at the job. So the goal of the interview is very simple. The goal is to create an impact that earns a subsequent interview selection, subsequent interview, or even he can get selected. Remember, it is a natural progression. Very rarely it happens that you attend an interview and the offer letter comes through the inbox. If it happens, it's good, but unlikely to be happening, right? So it could be a subsequent interview or you are at a stage for a selection. So let us look at and decode this word impact. Now, impact, impact, impact. Anything in life that we do is to create an impact. It could be as simple as hitting a nail on this wall. When I'm trying to hit a nail on this wall, let's say that I want to hang this poster. When I hit this nail on this wall, it's bending, the wall is cracking. This is happening because the wall is offering resistances. The only way I can overcome this resistance is by creating more impact, right? So typically, impact is a function of 5 C's. So let us decode what are those 5 C's. The first C is competence. So you must be hearing this word very often, this competence. Competence is nothing but a combination of knowledge and skills. So very important aspect, the core at it, the foundation on which everything is built is your competence, a combination of knowledge and skill, right? So your technical knowledge and the technical skill, very, very important. The second C is confidence. We have seen many, many students, forget about students, even some seasoned professionals, they are competent, but the moment they've been put into a panel or asked to demonstrate it, they lack confidence. So many a times in interview, the candidate does not get selected because he doesn't demonstrate confidence. Because you must transfer that your confidence into the hirer. Only then I'll be able to take a decision saying that this guy is good to try. The third C is conviction. Now, you demonstrate that conviction when they raise certain objections and queries, how conviction is there on that particular technology, particular skill that you have or your home. The fourth C is courage. Courage is not about jumping from the fourth floor or fighting with some 4 or 5 people. Courage is to handle objections. Courage is to take on queries. Courage is all about saying no to what they're offering. Courage is to negotiate. That is courage that we are talking about it. And the fifth C is, do you demonstrate demonstrate during the course of interaction some kind of an orientation towards the coding, right? Do you demonstrate the passion for coding? Do you demonstrate in love for coding? That is what that we would like to see. If you do these 5 C's very nicely, you create an impact. I'm not saying that you need to get 10 on 10 on all the 5 C's, but if there is a decent level and above, the more the impact you create, the more the opportunities are there to crack that interview. Now, let's look at it. How do we crack the virtual interview? Now you have a task of creating an impact during the virtual interview. Many elements that are applicable in person or virtual. Today, we are going to specifically look at the nuances of creating impact in a virtual interview. There are some unique challenges. Now, these challenges in virtual interview could be technology, could be voice, body, or it could be an audience also. Now, we are going to look at keeping these 4 unique challenges. How do we build our response to these challenges? Because only through an impact you can overcome a resistance or a challenge. So be with this journey. I'm going to give you 12 tips of mastering a virtual interview. These are practical tips, implementable tips, and these are very powerful tips. We have seen it. Students who have imbibed it, they are much more confident in creating that impact and cracking those interviews. Now, before we move forward, let me tell you, there are 2 instances. Typically, an adult, it is very stressful, very daunting. One is when you ask him to come and make a public speaking. And the second one is you tell him that you need to attend an interview. These are very daunting and stressful situations, no matter how good his language skills are or how good his technical skills are. But the moment you tell him you need to do a public speaking, or you need to face a camera and talk, or you have to give an interview, it's very daunting. Somehow we are not very comfortable with. That's what George Jessel said it very beautifully. The human brain starts working right from the moment that he's born and never stops until you stand up in public and speak in public, right? So this is what happens to us. We are good. The moment we enter the interview room, suddenly there is a blank out. Now, how do we overcome all this is a very important element in acing the virtual interview. Once again, I want to reiterate, in this journey, little things mean a lot, mean everything. I'm not going to give you any rocket science here. I'm not going to talk about algorithms and data structures and React.js or Node.js here, or a backend approach. I'm going to talk about little things. They mean everything. Absolutely. So for the purpose of simplicity, what we have done is these 12 tips are broken down into 3 stages. That is, stage 1 is what we do before the interview. Stage 2 is during the interview, and stage 3 is after the interview. It is broken down into 3 stages. For each of these stages, there are some tips that I'm going to give you. There are 4 tips for before, during, and after. It is almost like launching a rocket into Mars, 3 different stages to reach that offer. Okay, let's start with stage 1, before the interview. What is it that we need to do? I would like to start with this quote, which says that 5 P's. The proper preparation prevents poor performance. Prepare, prepare, prepare. There's nothing called over preparation. There's only called under preparation. Preparation never fails. Look at all celebrities, whether it is Rahul Dravid, Virat Kohli, Sachin Tendulkar, Roger Federer, Zakir Hussain, Amitabh Bachchan, all of them believe preparation because it prevents poor performance. You are there to give a good performance. The only difference is, in case of a reality show or acting, you have an opportunity to retake. But in an interview, you don't have an opportunity to retake. You do well, you proceed. You don't do well, you get rejected. So the first tip coming on your way is hygiene factor. Now, I've given you a clue. It's all about washing the hands. Washing the hands is very important, and even more so in the COVID reason. And what are these hygiene factors in a virtual interview? First and foremost, take care of check your technology, both the hardware and the software element. Make sure that you have downloaded the particular platform, whether it is Zoom or Skype or Hangout or WebEx. Dive in and learn as much as possible, not on the day of the interview, much before that. Go to YouTube, learn about these platforms, try and error it, ask your friends to connect, do some chat with them, or ask with your colleague who have used this platform. Be comfortable with the different tools around it so that you don't do trial and error and miss it out. Because you don't want to look at non-tech, right? You're a tech guy. You must be comfortable using these tools. Second one is never take these virtual interview on your mobile phone. I have seen sometimes people get into an interview on a mobile. I would say no, no to it. And more so in tech interview, you must do it on your laptop, on your personal laptop, which makes a big difference. Make sure you have a proper username, not funny username when you log into Skype, Hangouts, or Zoom. We have interviewed sometimes, they have emails like I love beer 2020, cool cat 1999, ninja coder, so and so. But I think you have more professional outlook. So make sure that username is appropriate and professional. Minimize distraction. Choose a place that you're comfortable with, but there is no external distractions. If you're doing it from your home, inform your family members that so and so day, so and so time, I have an interview. I don't need any external noise as much as possible. Update your professional social media profile. LinkedIn, Twitter, GitHub, all those has to be updated. If it is not updated, it doesn't sound professional. Today in all your portfolios, you are sharing your LinkedIn and your Twitter profile, right? So I quickly as a recruiter like to go and check few things what it is all about. So make sure it is up to date, it is professional always. That's the first tip that I'm giving to you, the hygiene factors. Talking about hygiene factors, typically when you have these hygiene factors, it is not highlighted, but lack of hygiene factors is talked about. It is like in a hospital. You expect the hospital to be neat and clean. You don't expect the blood stains around. You expect all the medical waste to be disposed in a particular place, waiting area, uh, uh, ambient temperature, and some water and restroom, right? These are hygiene factors. But lack of this, you will go and talk around to many people. So similarly, even in a virtual interview, these are basic hygiene factors. Now let's look at tip number 2. And last but not the least, must log in 5 minutes before the interview, not after that. Let's look at the next one is the lights, camera, and background. And this is where most people ignore it completely, and they don't even realize that how much it has an impact in a virtual interview. I just want to give you 6 things that you must take care of it. First and foremost, test your camera before the meeting. In fact, you should do it one day before. Check how is the resolution of the camera. Check with the other person how are you looking on the screen. Avoid lights falling from the top. When you fall from the top, you will have that glaring images or the Buddha effect. Light should come from opposite side. Light should come from opposite side. If you can get 2 side lights, it's nothing like it, just like you have in professional photo studio camera. But if it is not there, don't worry about it. At least a good quality light should come from across. Make sure the camera is at a natural distance. Typically, a 1 feet, 1.5 feet, to 2 feet is recommended. Not too far away or not too close. Right? You must maintain a 1.5 feet kind of a distance. Remove all the clutters from behind. If you look at it, I have a clean background, I have a portrait behind it, nothing else. But if I'm doing a presentation, something like this, with the boxes around me or something like that, it's not required. You're a professional guy, right? So make sure you spend some time to get a good background. Make sure your angle is proper. I'm going to talk about it a little later about the angle, what should be the angle at which you must do that. Okay, so these are the 6 things you must take care about: lights, camera, and background. Tip number 3, dress appropriately. Many times they think it's a virtual interview, so I can go in my pajamas, or all that matters is let me take care of my t-shirt and the rest is okay. No, friends. You must dress professionally. You must keep the camera in mind while choosing the color of your attire. It is said that to avoid white or too dark clothes, something like red and yellows, it doesn't go well with the camera, and you should also take care of the background. These kind of dark shades like a gray or blue goes very well for a camera, and it will be very soothing for the other person. So depending upon your profession, you can do that. If you are attending for let's say, a relationship manager's job in a bank, obviously you must be dressed very formally, maybe with a blazer and a tie. But if you're doing something like a front-end developer, a back-end developer, a full-stack developer, a software developer, I think as long you're dressed professionally, it is good enough. You can wear a collared t-shirt and chinos, or even a formal shirt would be good. Tie would not be required at all. Give attention to your grooming. Make sure that your hair is set properly, and your if you're keeping sporting a beard, it is trimmed well. I do understand in the coding world that being a little wacky is good, but not at this junction. Once you are arrived there and been there, and where your tech is all going to talk about it, then you can do that. But at the moment, I would say being a little more conservative is an ideal approach. Minimal accessories. Avoid showing your tattoos or too much of jewelry for women, and those things are all to be good. Tip number 4, before getting into the interview round: preparation, practice, but don't memorize. You must prepare well, you must practice well, but don't memorize. Absolutely. What do you prepare for? You prepare, do a good desk research. Find out about the company, find out about the job description, find out more about that company on the Glassdoor. Maybe you can try and figure out about the industry, figure out about the founders, the founding team, if it is a startup, how has been their journey so far. I'm sure so much of information is available. The second most important thing is prepare your introduction. 99.99% you will start with this saying that introduce yourself, and most people do a bad job. Ask a pilot, which is the most difficult part in flying an aeroplane. He says take off. Most accidents happen during takeoff or landing. Most people have an impression being created very early stage of the interview. So introduce yourself in a nice way. Script yourself for 30 minutes, but don't memorize it. It should not look like a robo. You must practice it. It must be casual. Do it very nicely. Possible interview question and the best possible answer. I'm sure today you can find out, either you're going to Tech Overflow or many other websites, you will get what are the possible interview questions and best possible answer. Rehearse, deliberate practice, pick up a practice buddy, tell him that you're going to attend an interview. Can he ask some questions, and do it on a virtual and ask for feedback. That's the 4 things that I'm talking about before the interview. What is it? The next thing coming up during the interview. Very important during the interview, start and stay confident. Now, how can one demonstrate confidence is right from the go. Smile early and often. Absolutely. Smile is very, very helpful. And often, good greeting, simple thing like good afternoon, good evening, and follow it up with thank you. Thank you for this opportunity for setting up this interview. Thank you for your time. 2 most powerful words used very often, but we must use it often, right? So these 3 things set up the tone very nicely, and be attentive and focus right through that interview. Typically, tech interviews can happen anywhere between 30-40 minutes. It can go for a couple of hours. So being focused, being attentive is very important. Show energy and enthusiasm. If you do these 5 things nicely, you start and you stay very confident. Start is very important. Ask a 100-meter sprinter, 400-meter sprinters, how important is a start, right? So start is important, and to stay confident right through is extremely crucial if you want to do well. Point number 6, tip number 6, your body language. Talking about body language is nothing but non-verbal communication. Precisely for this reason, virtual interviews have become very popular, because I can see the individual body language, non-verbal communication, because precisely for this reason, a lot of these tech interviews are happening. Yeah, I understand you can't give a firm handshake, but the very fact, the way the voice, the eye contact, body language, can gestures, many things around. I'm going to talk about 4-5 things here you need to take care about your body language, posture and movement. Make sure that you sit straight, don't slouch. Precisely for this reason, do not do the interview on a sofa. It is good to sit in a formal chair with a table so that your body posture is right. Avoid movements. Do not sway, right? Do not tap. Do not fidget. All those things are not required. Hand gestures are very powerful because very little thing of the body is exposed, right? Your head, your eyes, your face, your shoulders, and your hands. Make sure your hand gestures are there, open palm gestures. Avoid pointed fingers and karate chops. Always open palm gestures. Nodding your head is a very, very important piece because it's the only way you're conveying to the other party that you're understanding what the other person is saying and encourage him to engage with you more. Smile more often. That will help you to put yourself at ease and the other person. If you ask me, the make and break piece in a virtual interview is your ability to make an eye contact with the camera. In a virtual interview, you're talking to that camera on your laptop or the webcam. The more you're comfortable with that, the more you're able to look at it and stop comfortably, you will create the impact. So to do that, few things you need to do it very nicely. Position the camera at the eye level. What have I done? I have raised my laptop using a table and a box kind of a thing. It is almost at an eye level. When it is at an eye level, I'm exactly at that position where I can look at it instead of looking down or looking up or looking side or from the angle. Here I'm looking at the eye level. The second one is, remember when you are using these platforms, either Zoom or Skype or Hangout, you get a small window where you see your own image. Make sure that you are centered. So typically in the photography, they talk about it. Make sure you take the center one and move that box to where the webcam is, to that position, so that you are focusing here. Imagine if it is on to the right bottom, my focus will be to the right or to the right top or to the left top or to the left bottom. Here, my webcam is in the top middle. I have moved it up, and then my focus is completely there. Keep focus on the camera when you're talking. You must have seen that. Consciously, I'm looking at the camera. And sit up straight, smile, and keep talking to the camera. If you do these four things, you are almost 50% done on a virtual interview. The biggest challenge is people are not comfortable in talking to the lens of the camera. You get intimidated. You must take care. Let's look at the next one coming up is all about articulation and pacing. What I need to tell you is at this level, the style to change is very difficult, right? Speak clearly and slowly, deliberately slow down. At least by 10 to 20%, you can slow down your pace of words. Short sentences and pauses are far better than long paragraphs. Listen actively because you need to make an effort to listen in the virtual interview. Ask questions to clarify. It is perfectly fine. It also shows your confidence, and be aware of the hot mic and the camera. What happens is sometimes at the end of the interview, you forget completely, and then you say, oh gosh, it was a tough interview. Why did he ask such questions? Oh, he was very rude to me. Everything is heard and seen. So make sure that everything is turned off before uttering anything, if at all you need to do. Tip number 9. The question to ask is, are you in a mode of reacting or in the mode of responding? What's the difference between react and a respond? Typically, what happens, react is instantaneous, ignore, you don't think through, it is largely emotional. In a respond, it is thought through and it is combination of logic and emotion. And you will say what to say and why to say and how to say is very well done. Have a gentle conversation for which you need to ask questions. Last but not the least, during the interview, in spite of all preparation, in spite of best of your intention, there could be always technical glitches. These glitches can happen either from your side or it could be from the interviewer side. So you do not get into the panic mode. Couple of things you need to do well: stay calm, work through glitches, always have an alternate plan. If your computer has crashed, can you connect it over mobile? Or if the internet is not there, Wi-Fi, can you connect it through hotspot? Or both are not there, can you reach out quickly on the mobile of the person and tell them this is what the situation you're trying to fix it up? Always have plan B. Okay, so these are the top 6 things that you need to take care when you are during the interview. I need to cover the last element, the third stage, that is after the interview. Right? The 2 things I'm going to cover for it. A, feedback and follow up. It is good to ask a feedback at the end of the interview. Before that, thank the person for spending their valuable time. And in a nice way, you can ask them, is there any feedback that you'd like to give me, either on the way the interview has gone or any specific thing that I should be aware of? Now, when you do this and follow it up with a good follow up with an email after the agreed period, but without desperate. What I'm saying is follow up after the interview is good, but before that, you must send a thank you mail and then ask him, is there anything that how we progress from here? But don't sound desperate. Lastly, review your performance. So the interview is over, you're relaxing, sit down and ask these two questions, TGR and TGW. TGR is nothing but things gone right. What did go well in this interview? Was my infra was in place? Was my way of answering was in place? Was the coding was in place? What did go wrong? Did I not solve algorithms well, or did I not have some technical glitches? How do I overcome? Individual action plans to overcome what went wrong. Friends, a virtual interview is effective and an efficient way to get a job. And as more and more companies turn towards this platform, it's important to get comfortable. You don't have a choice, right? If you are too selective and if you say I'm not there, you're only restricting yourself. Why would you like to do that? You have the knowledge, technical knowledge, you have the skill. This is an easier thing to ace the interview, right? So what I'm going to give you is a checklist of those 12 things that we discussed. It is downloadable. You can just click this and it is downloadable in here. As I told you, in Masai School, we focus on three areas: the technical skills, the soft skills, and career preparation. This entire soft skills is covered under the banner of Skillathon. What we do is we invest 1 hour a day in our student for 5 days a week for 20 weeks, that make it 100 hours. And broadly, that we cover 3 circles that will help him to build his soft skills, that consisting of skill set, tool set, and mindset. So thank you so much for your patient listening here. I hope it is useful. What we have basically have given you is more details here. I hope you have got some actionable insights, and also you can use these checklists to make sure that all these are ticked before you attending your virtual interview. If you want to know more about courses in Masai, you can always write to admissions@masaischool.com. And if you have anything specific to soft skills, you can always write to softskills@masaischool.com. So we are attempting a transformation in education. Thank you all so much, and best wishes for your next virtual interview. Thank you. Help. Isn't it? Are you done? That one tip was good, huh? I was moving forward in that way. After that, I stopped. You should have increased the fan. No, no, no. I've got calls. Do it the phone. Just increase the fan and switch on the light.